To set up our Stripe payment account, we need to go directly to stripe.com. As you see, we cannot go with this because we doesn't have the account yet. So we need to log in with our particular account, and there is a lot of option to there. You can either go with Google, you can particularly make any email, and you can go with that. If I go with my email address, so I think it can be pretty much easy to go and configure that. I will just go and use my password here to just to go and set up on that. And done. So we're gonna start signing authentication, and if you have that two-way authentication enabled, you need to bypass that email authentication and others. Now after happen to be in the dashboard, if you just check in our code, we need to have one important thing, is that Stripe secret key. So first of all, we need to open an Stripe account by which we can it will be enabled for us to create the receive the payment, and also to enable all the method and authentication. We need to go and enable bring that secret key. Now over here you can see you are testing in a sandbox so you can go in a sandbox also, or also you can get your live account. Is up to you how you need to fill up all of those formalities to get the live account for yourself. So if you want to take the hit, it's up to you, you can take, but for me I will just go in a simple way because I'm gonna test on that. I'm not gonna active initialize that, but the setup is almost similar, just some of the few things are gonna change, but it's almost similar. You can just go easily on that. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over here, and from there I'm gonna create a new account. You see, so if you doesn't have an account, from there you're gonna find to happen to be create a new account. So what I'm gonna do, I have my others account. So now what I can do, I can switch back to the other account, or I can just simply create an account. It's up to you how you want to fill it. That's a pretty simple way to go and start polishing with that. So it doesn't matter either you are doing in that way or in other way. You just need to be according that Stripe secret key. That's it. And when you're working with Stripe, you need to have patience because it can be a little bit lengthy bit of work. As you see, still loading. Sometimes it can be happen to access the network. So as you see, once you create and switch your account, you need to make sure your app is right here. And from there, what I'm gonna do, you see those already this account is working. So I need to go in the developer tabs, and from there you can see here API references and others. You can go and read their API references data, so which can really make a good impact how the things can be working and how the things can be done. And from what I interested is that to go in the developer settings, because on the developer settings you can also toggle through all the developer formalities the way you want. But the most important is that we are looking forward to have our own, as you see, API keys and secret keys. So that's the secret key we are looking forward. So from here also we can access, but why Stripe CLI? You can see API keys. So you can just click on API keys, and both API keys it will be there. One is the publishable key, one is the secret key. So we need that secret key J and X at the right. So just click on that, it will automatically be copied, and after that just paste it. So now we are having our secret key. So after having the secret key, we now start building all the formulation. And by the way, we can just go and visualize the transaction here. So whatever the transaction is happened to be here within the previous binding. So you can see we have that transaction which is 1661.97. so we can just go with that. Now what I'm gonna do, let's just go start building the face. So over here I need to go initialize our routing. And of course, I think our server is running by so far. If we just go over here and let's just see ls cd server and then npm start dev. So the server will run in development server. Now what we need to do, as we are having this all the functionality, so first of all we need to go and create the initialization. So this is the route which we are having, and we're just passing the router as a default route. Now what you need to do, in every route, whenever you're gonna call in the checkout instances, you're gonna passing a request body. I'm gonna just name it as a reg body, and that reg body should be, we need to pass an await method, and that should be reg dot body. So it's gonna capture all the coming from the request body, and from there we need to just fetch to setup. And of course we need to just pass that, no need to pass that await, so it should be rec body. And there we're gonna pass two things. One, it will be email, another it will be price. So this is the two value which is really needed here. And of course we need to pass, we need to ensure that price is a valid number and convert to integer cents. And why we need to do that? Because whenever we are like, this price is $22.30, but we need to pass that as like 2230 cents, because every single account digit, it should need to be passing as their own variable cents. Otherwise it will not pick up, because the currency, whenever you are calculating the currency, is very important to make sure that every cents are important. So what we can do, if the type of and the price, we just need to pass the message is not equal to, like whenever we are passing the price, if it's not equal to number, there's one setup of thing, and then is none. So we can also, if the price is not a, like, if this is not equal to none, like sorry, it's not like that. If the price, whatever the price value we're sending, if it's not number or if it's none value, right? And or there will be another phenomena, which is price is bigger or equal, like smaller or equal than 0. So if this 3 scenario is happening, you can see here I'm passing the OR statement. So I'm just checking if my price, whatever the price I'm sending, if it's not a number and also a non value, which is, you know, undefined value can be sometimes, and if the price is equal to 0 or less than 0, minus figure, then I want to pass a return value, which would be rest.status, and the status I want to pass a 400 status, and then I want to send the status. And of course you can search in the internet, you can find all the HTTP status, and you can find what the call and why we are using that. And of course whenever that can happen, the success, the value, which it will be a false value, so false. And after that I want to pass a message, and the message should contain that it should be passing that invalid price value. So, you know, we're having a pretty good understanding that whenever anyone requesting with this 3 side of value, we're gonna just throw them that is not, you are not permitted to get that. Now what we need to do, first of that, after passing that, we need to also pass that like after validation, we need to convert price to cents and ensure it's integers. It's an integer, means a number. So to do that, we just need to find a simple formulation that would be pretty simple. We need to just make that amount in cents. You can directly pass that, it will not be an issue on that. So I'm going to just make that math dot round. I'm going to go with the round figure, and I'm going to pass the price, and then I need to multiply, as it's a dollar, we're going to using that, we're going to multiply with the 100, so it will be equal to cents. Now as we are having the price value, we will pass a try catch method. Now whenever we are having a catch value, we need to pass like we need to log through our catch, should be console log, and here we're gonna pass our error, and we're gonna just handle we're gonna just make that method handling an error itself. So the error should be passing the error, and of course whenever we are passing the error, we need to also pass a status. So rest.status, we want to status should be 500, which can be the server error, and the send in the object we're gonna pass that success should be, let's say it should be false, and also message, we're gonna pass a simple message that payment failed. Payment failed. That's it. Now when we are having all the category is match, like we are having a success ratio, that time how we want to sort the things in that try block. So this is the most important thing where we need to work it very carefully. First of all, I think we didn't set up our Stripe yet. So first we need to set up the Stripe, only then we can let it work. And first of all, if we just go in our package, did we have that Stripe? If we go here, no, we didn't import, like we didn't install the Stripe yet. So I will take another terminal here. So in the terminal, put, let's go cd into client app, and over here npm I Stripe at latest. So whatever the latest version is available, we want to just ensure to be initialize that one. And in the lib over here, we will create another file. You can create anywhere, you can go with the helper, you can go with the lib, it's up to you. Not this lib in the client, but we will create a lib here in the server, which will be a lib, and over here it will be, let's say, Okay, over here I need to create a file which will be stripe.js, as we are using the JavaScript, plain JavaScript. And you can see here, if you just pass, we have stripe 18.1, so I'll close that. And over the stripe I need to first import, let's say, stripe from, you can just pass from the stripe, not string decoder, stripe. Yes. Now after having the stripe, if like if we doesn't pass that process.env, if we doesn't pass that you can see here, if we are not putting that in stripe secret key, then it can also throw an error that process.env, that secret key is not available. So if there is no secret key, I want to just throw a new error, just a certain error over there, and that will just highlight that stripe secret key is not defined, defined, defined or set. So that will make sure or ensure that we set up our stripe secret key perfectly and we are good to go. Now whenever we are having to have a stripe, so I'm gonna just make that const stripe should be, I'm gonna create a new instances using stripe, and over here I'm gonna pass that process.env. Oops, it should be not directly the secret key, should be process.env dot secret key. And also after passing that, within that function I need to pass the variable, and that variable gonna handle that API version. So the whatever version is available, you need to make sure, sometime and most of the time it will generate automatically that 2005-430 is the basilisk now for the latest API version. And also I need to make that, now here the TypeScript true, it no need to be enabled because I'm using the JavaScript, plain JavaScript, so that will be enough for that. And after passing that one, you can also make that export default. I will just pass the stripe. So whenever I need a stripe, I can easily use that. Now this simple configuration you can also do at top, but you know, most of the place wherever you are using, all the concept about the payment method is mostly they are allowing to keep it separate, because calculation is very important for any kind of application layer. Whenever you have calculation is all about money, you need to be very, very careful and very, very understandable on this matter. Now let's go and check out. We need to do a lot of things here. So first of all, as you see in the try block, we need to make our Stripe payment authentication. First we're gonna go and create a customer for our user. The customer would be, let's say, await, and that should be Stripe. And we need to import from our lib, as you can see here. And after importing, you see it's only lib.stripe, but you need to pass that as JS, otherwise you're gonna get a very, very tremendous error there. And by the way, if you want to all the production level code for this particular website app, for as you can see, you can just grab that code from that buy me a coffee. It's just a little bit price tag there because it's all our production grade is ready. And also I'm sharing on APK. You can just go on that particular link and you will find your APK right here. You can download it and you can initialize that one just to see how it's working. Then if you feel better, you can just install that one. And by the way, there will be a lot of animation going on. The lot of things which I cannot cover up in this video because some extracurricular activity like using the motion, using the theme or others, I'm gonna cover maybe in next video or any other application, but you know, for the time limitation. But you can grab each and everything here, all the production layer. Of course, most of the part I'm gonna just pass that to you, but you can just grab it if you wanted to. And of course, if you are feeling lovely on that, feel free. There is a lot of project here. You can just go and purchase from it. It's very minimal prices. And again, if you think you want to purchase any of the project, especially you're watching my video, then let me know in the comments. If the price is high, let me know also. I will try to give you a discount or maybe I will give you free. So just let me know in the comments, or you can simply message me by following through my email, or all the social media link is available there. You can just contact me anytime. And of course, there is one more request. If you feel better about the creation, about the work I'm doing, you can always feel free, easy to buy me a coffee. That's up to you. It's just a request. If you do it, it will boost my productivity and I would love to have that. So it just passing a new, just showing you, if you wanted to, you can give it. Okay, now let's back to the prices because it's now the money matters. Talking about the money, let's back to the money. So first of all, we need to create a customer in this Stripe. So we need to await Stripe dot. Now if your Stripe is set up correctly, you can see all the setup gonna work over here. It will automatically highlight that. So customers dot create. So first of all, we need to create a customer. So const customer, we are creating a customer in the Stripe by using that. And after that, we need to make that ephemeral key. So this is the key what we're gonna use to bring our older setup should be await. And I think it can pass the email. I think so, yeah. Whenever a customer gonna create, it can basically go with that. But anyway, we'll go with the default parameter. So ephemeral key, which gonna be await, is stripe dot ephemeral keys. And from there, we will create the key. And how we gonna create? We're gonna create a to setup customer should be the customer which we create, customer.id. That would be the scenario for that. And remember, the API version is already mentioned, but you can, what I said before, you can simply mention here as you have been seen. So I think that's the complexity gonna pass here. You can also passing that API version if you want. You can just pass that, and as you can see, you can now bring the same API version from there in this Stripe. You can just copy that and you can simply use it right here. So that's the API version you can directly here, and if you're not pass also, that's gonna work. Now what you're gonna do, we have the customer, we have the ephemeral key. So this is the key which is going to bring back all the scenario for us. So we need to do one more thing, is that we need to make that const payment intent. So we're gonna use the payment intent, and await should be stripe dot, and here should be payment intents dot create. We're gonna create a payment intents using the payment instances. And the amount should be, let's say, amount in cents. So that's the amount which we are going to send, and the currency going to be, let's passing that USD should be the dollar sign, and that customer should be, let's say, customer dot id. So that would be our customer. And after that, automatic payment methods, which gonna be, we want that automatic, we will make that enabled as true. And by the way, if you are working with me previously, you know, in our, especially the web work, we are making a lot of things. We are passing the products data to showcase, because all the details we are forcing there. But for app, we are going to go in a minimal way, so that we will do in future. But I want you to have a better understanding how those things can work, so that you will create any application later on. So it's not a big deal. If you can do this one, you can do anything in future. So no worries about that. I know you can raise the question where the other setup, that will be there, no worries. And the receipt email should be the email which we are passing from there. And also we need to pass the description. For the description, we will just go with a backtick here, and that should be passing that order from, and over here we're gonna pass simply the mail. So that's the order from this mail. And after that, the metadata, remember, whenever we are forecasting, it will be fulfilled beforehand, that it should be our email. So now we created our payment intent. So now, as you see, almost we are done. You see the payment intent. So this is the important things is there. We did two steps, one getting the ephemeral key, another getting the payment intent. So now what we're gonna do, we need to pass the return, should be res.status, and if that created is done, we're gonna pass it 200, means success, and then send. And within the object, we're gonna pass a lot of things. First of all, that should be success, should be true, and then the message should be, let's say, it's gonna say payment session, and that will be created successfully. So that would be the message gonna passing in the front end. And after that, we're gonna make that payment intent, and that payment intent should be our payment intent dot client secret. So now you can see we are passing that client secret for the payment intent, and the ephemeral key, that key should be a passing for that ephemeral key dot secret, SEC. Yeah, that should be the secret. And I think I have a mispronunciation here, maybe. Yeah, that should be the proper pronunciation. So I think, yeah, that should be the proper ephemeral key. Yeah, I had some mistake on that. Okay, now we are passing the secret, and the customer should be, let's say we need to pass that customer.id. You can just take it within a variable and then pass that. So this is the setup which we did by so far, and this is our server which is still running using our localhost port for 8000. So as you see, if you don't run that within the server, it will not work. So you need to go with the server, otherwise it will not work, because Stripe is not supporting by default in the client side. You better to have your server running, otherwise it will not work. So now what we can do, as we did the most of the things here. So if we in the place order, if we click, nothing is happening. So first of all, we go back in the cart. I'm gonna close that, or I'm gonna just close others. So first of all, as you see, we need to also happen to have another page which called that payment page. Okay, so whenever we are just going through directly in that payment instances, we should be able to go there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create those that pages here. So it should be a new file, and gonna pass that payment.tsx rnfes, because that page is required whenever we're gonna go that. So should be payment screen. Okay, so that would be our payment screen. Let's go back to the layout, and on that particular layout we need to bring back our this one. Should not be passing that, so option should be null and the other parameter should be null. I think, yeah, I think option, I'm gonna keep it better null, or what do you think for the payment? I think, yeah, not that much, not order, should be payments. Okay, I need to just reload again because I made twice a bit. So this is our payment skin as we did that. So now whenever we're gonna go in the cart, as you see, we have our like handle place order, and over here if we just go here, let's say router dot push, and from there if we just want to go / payment, we can just simply go back to our payment. So now if we click on that, we should be able to go in our payment screen. So this is the screen which will be responsible to go create the payment, but of course we need to bring back all the scenario. We're gonna just make a simple design pattern here just to showcase all the styles, because we need this page is very much, because it's very important for us. And to bring that in live, we'll just go with our styles, and that should be the app colors, and all things are done. Now of course over here we should be passing that, let's say you can again use the wrapper if you wanted to, just simply cut that and use directly the wrapper itself, and you can have it same like this experience. So it will be within the wrapper view. Okay, and after that also you can use some certain kind of things. You can use that style. Let's say style should be passing the actual style, and that can be passed styles dot container, and it will not take style, it should be taking, okay, I think, yeah, I think I didn't make that symphony to do that. We can simply pass that within the view, and the style is flex 1, padding 20, background color, and the justify content. Because of that, as is always be in a centralized, I'm not ensuring to use that wrapper, because it always will be like in separate. And of course I'm skipping to use the wrapper, because remember that Stripe payment drop down, it will coming back here. So I don't want to use any customized predefined values, which can really be annoying for that. And first of all, let's should be the style over here. For that should be styles dot title, and that should be passing that complete your, let's say, your payment. So this is gonna message which it will pass that, and the text should be, it will be making that, please confirm your payment details to complete the purchase. And after that we should have another text, and here we need to pass the total value here. So it should be, let's say, total, and right now we are not gonna pass again. I'm gonna just keep it $100 just to show you how the data gonna underline. Later on we're gonna come up with actual data. And for this text here should be style, and the style should be styles dot subtotal, and of course it will not be and minus, it will be is equal. And after that also for the text itself here style, and the style should be styles dot total price. Now how we are enduring on that, you see the title is having the default title variation, font family, font size 24, color app colors, text primary, text align center, margin bottom 16, and total price is the same way, going enter bold, font size 20, colors and others. Now after that, after passing all the enterable things, we need to passing one button here. So the button, which we have our components button, and we can just passing that a self-closing button here, and the title should be passed, not that title should be confirm payment, and then we're gonna passing that on press, which should be it gonna handle of a payment. And right now I'm gonna just keep it as normal of that, not like this one should be passing that, it should be, let's say we can simply pass that, yeah, like that, just to passing an empty variable here. And of course it's gonna take the full width, and the style should be passing that styles dot button. So this will be the style parameter, and that style is just a simple style, it's just gonna passing that margin top 20. Right now as you see we are not doing anything here, so we're gonna go back to our card. And of course we also need to go in our Supabase client, so that we can know what's actually going under the hood and what all are the things which we need to configure. Of course I need to go and logged in with my account. I'm gonna just log in and come back. Okay, so I have my account, you see shop card here. So right now from that table editors, or I can go with that SQL editor, I think better to go in the table editor. So I have my orders. So here I'm using the same, I think the same data ratio which we are using, so we should be able to like roll back each and everything, implement from here. I think I'm using the same account, so that we can just easily configure that. So what we're gonna do right here in our, let's say, payments, and of course this one I'm just keeping it, but better to remove that for that particular instances. So let's go in the cart. What we are going to do within the cart, whenever we're gonna click on that place, before passing that router push, we need to do a lot of things. First of all, I'm gonna just comment it. If first of all we need to check right now if we doesn't have the user, it's passing the some value, but of course we need to check again to make sure we have the user. If doesn't have the user, first of all we need to pass a toast message, should be toast.show, which gonna say, and here we're gonna pass the object type should be, and of course you need to pass the error type here, and then we're gonna pass the text one, and the text one should be, let's say, login required. And after that the text 2 it gonna just render on that, not like that, text 2 it just going to say of like that, please log in to place an order. And the last one is that we're gonna pass the position, which is going to be as bottom. And of course, as always, we can pass the visibility time, which I will make is 2000 millisecond. Now, if I have user, if I just make in go the way, you can see login required, please log in to place an order. So right now it will not show. If you click, you see it's nothing. If you have user, it will not showcase that. Okay. And if there is no user available, I will say show that, and of course don't execute the function return from that block. So it will not dive into that. It will always return from here if there is empty user. And after that I'm going to use a try catch block again, just to get consolidate each and everything. And first of all, in the catch, what we're gonna love to do is that we're gonna showcase our error. So we're gonna just simply pass that error, order failed to place order, position bottom, visibility time, again the same, console log, error, placing order. So that would be a simple scenario. And now we need to create, as you see the set loading, we're gonna use the set loading true, but whenever all the scenario gonna run, finally I'm gonna make that set loading as false. so should be as false. So now we need to go and start building all the structure by which we can start building our application. So in that try block, whenever we're gonna enter on that, I'm gonna make that set loading at true, or you can just use that right here. But as you see, we're gonna just check the user, so it will not take that much time. Or I think, okay, I'm gonna keep it here. Anyway, so now what we're gonna do, we can simply pass that const. We're gonna use that order data. So that's where we're gonna just destructurize the order data. And first of all, we're gonna pass that user, and that should be user underscore email, and that email should be user.email. So that would be our user email. And then we're gonna have the total underscore the price. The price should be whatever the total value we are having in the top. And the items which we're gonna pass that items dot map, we need to individually rectify each and every item, and from there we're gonna create a function, and within the object we're gonna pass that all the things. So product underscore id, that id going to be item dot product.id. So that would be our scenario to bring back our items. So I'm just gonna replace that with the existing. So our item should be product id, should be product id, title should be product title, price should be product price, quantity should be item quantity, image should be item product image. And as you can see over here in that, you see id, user email, total price, items, payment status, and then create that. If you just click here, you can see this all are the same data ratio which we are sending here. You see all the things which we are receiving here, we are sending. So we are preparing that data not for us, not for, because we are preparing for us for our to you pass that in Supabase backend. Now here we're gonna pass that our payment underscore status, payment underscore status, which gonna be by default pending. And whenever it gonna hit pay, that time it gonna work as a paid payment. Now first of all, we just prepared our order data, so we need to insert, let's say insert order into, let's say Supabase. So we need to first insert our data. So const, we need to go with that. We will make the data, and we're gonna make that error, so that both things gonna coming from await, and we're gonna ensure that to get the lib of our Supabase. And of course the from, we need to go and calculate to grab the order, so that's where we need to just pass that message. And from there we need to insert what we want to insert. We want to insert our order data. So in the orders table, as you can see directly right here, we have that orders table. So in that orders table, we are going to send that order data. We're going to insert it, and from there we will select, we're going to select all together, and then also we're going to make that as a single. So it's going to create a single data. So that's what is actually going to do. And of course, if now we are having two set of things, one is data, one is the error. Now if we are having an error, means we didn't create the data, what it gonna do, I'm gonna just throw a new error. So should be throw new error, should be throw new error, and that error gonna pass that a back, I'm gonna pass the backtick, should be fail to save order. And over here I can just simply pass that directly pass that error dot message. That's it. So now we can test. So now we should be able to create the orders. So we're gonna try to create the orders first, just to see if we are happen to be, as you can see here, we're having orders, we are passing all the details. So till we have 43 number orders. So I'm gonna go over here and place that, and let's see if anything happened. So right now it should be 44. So I'm gonna just go, and you can see I'll just reload here, and let's see if the 44 is happen to be there. You see that 44, so 194.23, and if we just go right here, you can see here 194.23. so now we are able to send back here. So this is a pretty cool that we can now sending back data right here. So what we're gonna do now, we need to initialize the setup and do the all other flavors. So we can now simply pass. If still you are stucking on that, if your orders is not placing, I recommend you go over here, and then from there edit table, And of course you need to make that one, it always be tick by default. You need to make it disabled. Okay, so you need to confirm it to make it disabled, otherwise you should not be able, because if you confirm that, you should be able to read and write all the table. And of course that should be by like that, because otherwise also it can be using at a server. But for me, I'm gonna just do in that way. I don't want to make a lot of complexity in the same application, which can be really annoying. So first of all, now as you see, I need to have to create a payload. So the payload, it should be passing that value, and the payload is that the price should be, let's say, total, whatever the total we are giving, and the email should be passing that user dot email. So this is the payload which you're having right now. What you need to do, remember, we created a checkout backend, so we need to go and create a response on that, because we need to, before using this Stripe, we need to go hit our API. And once you are doing that, remember, you need to make your server running for sure, otherwise it cannot be connected. So I'm gonna just minimize a bit and lower. So in the response, so it should be is equal to await, and that await message is gonna pass that Axios. As you see, we didn't initialize the Axios yet, so I'm gonna go over here, and you can also use the fetch method. It's normal. So but I'm gonna make that npm I Axios, because it's a mobile application. So if there is a certain kind of error which can be really to if it's Axios, it's easy to go in for make debugging. So Axios, okay, not showing that, so I'm gonna make it manually import Axios from, let's say, Axios. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna simply make a fetch method. So Axios, or not fetch, post method. So on the post, it should be the endpoint, which is HTTP, not else, HTTP, and that should be localhost, and that gonna pass that 8000, localhost 8000, and I think /checkout. So that would be our route. And over there, what we need to do, we need to pass simply our payload. So whatever the payload we have, remember, we have price, we have total. If we just go our checkout, in our checkout route, we receive two separate things, which is email and price. So this is the thing we are passing. You can make console log to see each and everything, but as it's working, I'm gonna see if I need to debug, then of course I need to go with the console log. And after that, I need to pass that our headers. The headers should be, let's say, it gonna passing that value and variation, not like that, should be headers. And the header should be, we need to pass that our content type should be content type, and the content type, it's gonna always passing that as application /JSON. So this is the application layer which we're gonna pass. Now we need to, first, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna log the response if we are having any response. So let's just go and make that response, and over here I'm gonna just grab the response. So let's see if everything is working fine. We should be able to grab a response, and we should be able to see the response here in our client. So now click on that, and let's see what it's gonna do. You see, we have response, we have config, adapter, we have our header. So we are receiving something, but you see, status is 200. You remember that? So everything we are receiving perfectly. But what we are looking forward here, as you see, all the things is coming here. If we just try to find the data, so you see the data. The data is the price, is the email, and also the ENB variation, all the things which we are just passing in that variable. So what I'm gonna do over here, I need to grab that additional value. So I'm gonna make that should be I need to pass in an object, should be coming from their response dot data. And from there, what I need to want to have that is that a payment intent. So I'm gonna have that payment intent, and then I'm gonna have that I'm gonna just copy paste, because I'm very bad at typing on this kind of things. Maybe I'm gonna make a mistake. So those are the data which I want to have that. And also you can log again just to see if it's available. So let's say payment intent, let's say ephemeral key, let's say customer, just to check one more time. So I'm gonna just go over here, I'm gonna make some text over here. Okay, oops, it's just I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm gonna hit reload. No, it's already took that, so I'm gonna stop the server because it's already running my emulator, which I don't want. It's already pressure in my machine, so I'm gonna rerun again expo. I'm gonna go with that again, npx expo start, and from here again I will try to use my iOS. You can also go with the Android emulator, it will work perfectly fine, so no worries about that. So I'm gonna just give a bit of time to start taking my machine to rerun the project again, as I just by mistake used that. So keep I to open that is already opened. So now what we can do is most we can just whenever we're gonna click on that particular instances, we should be able to, as you see. Okay, now did we have that log? No, we didn't have the log. If we just reload, okay, I can just make that a text, a bit of text here, so that it would be easy to go on that. So let's go back here, and we're gonna, okay, did our, okay, we lost our login method, so should be admin at gmail.com, and then I'm gonna just pass my password here, sign in, and after sign in we can directly go back to our car. Let's place order. And as you see, we have that ID, we have the key, everything is good to go. So now what we can do, we can just go simply using the other variation just to go and create the payment. First of all, we're gonna pass that if there is no payment intent, or so we need to check before all of that if there is no ephemeral key, and then or if there is no customer. What's the name of that? Ephemeral key. Yes, that should be maybe my pronunciation is not good that much. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna, if that one is not available there, I'm gonna make an error. So should be throw new error, and the error gonna pass that, let's say missing required stripe data. So it should be data from server. So this is what is gonna be missing from there, and else partition here. So means we have the data. What we want to pass the toast message, which gonna say us that yes, we need to go and use a navigate to payment screen with stripe data as props. We're gonna pass the message success, order placed successfully, and then we're gonna hit that. But after that, we need to also remember, which we did before at the top, we are directly pushing the route to our payment screen. So we're gonna come back here, we're gonna do the same thing again, but this time after passing the payment, we need to also pass the params to back on that. So what I'm gonna do, instead of directly passing there, I'm gonna just pass the path name. So the path okay, should be okay, it's my bad, maybe, yeah, cut it. So we're gonna pass in within an object. So the path name should be the path name which we are want to passing that, and the params, not the param should be an object which we are, okay, not here, should be here. The params will be an object where we're gonna pass that like payment intent, we're gonna pass on there, and then it's gonna be ephemeral key, and then we're gonna pass our customer, and then we're gonna pass that order ID, which going to be data.id. So the data which we are passing directly here, remember. So now we can easily use the data. Where's the data here? Yeah, that's the data which we can just simply grab it. So we can pass the data ID according to that. So we can find the ID, and that's ID is required. You know, we want to pass Supabase, let's say Supabase order ID for potential updates, remember. And why we need that, like once the payment is done, you see first instance is order pending, but we can easily make it success by creating that. So that's what we're gonna build up very soon. So we're passing that order ID, and after that passing ID, we're gonna pass the total value over here, which gonna be the total value of our total value. So as you can okay, I need to pass a comma here, which I missed. Okay, comma is right there. Now what we can do here, as you see, if we just place the order, so now you can see it will replace, and now order placed. So we are here in our payment screen. So we need to capture whatever the value which we are passing, we need to capture our entire value. We need to just create all of this const router, which gonna coming from their use router, and after that we're gonna pass the value which going to be, let's say const, and that all the method gonna pass from their use local search param, so you need to bring back from the expo routes, and particularly this all the functionality, whatever the main things which we define there, remember, however things we are passing, all the data we're going to capture here. So like the payment intent, ephemeral key, customer, total, order ID, all should be there. Okay, so now we can simply go with that. We can simply grab the user, and the user should be use auth store, and after that we're gonna pass that, let's say, const total value, and the value should be, let's say, I'm gonna make it a number. Remember, whenever you are passing anything as params, even is a type of number, like those things, the total and data is type of number, id is number, but it will it will gonna be diverted into a string, so you need to return back to the number again. So you're gonna pass the number, and then I'm gonna make that get string parameter. Of course, I need to make a function here. I will create an utility function. You can create, it's better to have to create in a separate file, but I'm gonna go with that. And the get string param, we're gonna take the value from this string, and then we're gonna passing the array value property. So should be get string param, and from there we're gonna pass our total value. So it's gonna just passing that our actually a parameter by which we can go and relocate or allocate those things. And by the way, whenever we are passing the card, remember our still the order data which we are passing here is still there, but it should not be there, right? So what we can do here, after we are just passing back to the card, I'll make amplify that 261. Like as you see, before passing that or after passing that, we can simply make that functionality, make that a clear card, because so that it gonna be close the card directly. So it can be do in a very separate way, I think. Yeah, so is it okay? Router.push and a path name, params, total ID, and then the clear card should be good. Okay, so now we're gonna just test it. If we make order placed, should be this card should be disappeared, and of course we can check later on, no worries. And now once we coming back here, we need to go and initialize our payment intent and other parameter. So what I'm gonna do here, so we have all the value over here. I need to pass that instead of that value. We can just simply pass that, let's say it's gonna just simply make that a total value. So total value dot to fixed, and we want to fixed within the two number parameter. You see 261.13. Now whenever we're gonna hit in confirm payment, we need to grab back a separate parameter which gonna handle all of our Stripe payment integration. So we need to go and make that. First of all, I'm gonna go and create a new components here which gonna name as Stripe payment. So Stripe payment.tsx and our RNFES. So this is the file, and this is the topmost mentality which gonna be handle all of our Stripe payment integration. And of course this one gonna be taking a certain kind of type, and you need to be very careful once you are doing that. And of course you need to have to install one package. So if we go back to our over here, let's go back to npm for the package manager library. If we paste here, you should be able to see one package with the Stripe React Native. We are using React Native, and by the way, Expo is in React Native, so we are good to go. So I'm going to copy that, and after copying this one, I need to go in our terminal over here, and in the client I need to first install that. And after installing, you can see here, you can go to the documentation how you can easily go and make the setup, but you can go, I think no need to go and make that. We can simply go with those. If you're following me, you're good to go to have all the functionality work by so far. Okay, so first instances, what we need to do is to import that. So I'm gonna just go, and at the top I need to import that use Stripe from Stripe React Native. And as you see, that's the props gonna coming payment intent, ephemeral key, customer, order ID, user email, and own success function. Those all are gonna coming from according to that. And of course I'm gonna just pass that, or I can just simply pass that one here, and that's all gonna be passing as a props. So the props gonna contain that payment intent, gonna contain ephemeral key, gonna contain the customer, order ID, and then user email, and then on success. So all the functionality we are receiving right here. And after receiving that, we also need to go make those things. So that should be const, and that we need to bring back from use stripe method. And from there we need to have two setup, which should be init payment sheet and also the present payment sheet. You see, we are gonna create this sheet ons, and we are using everywhere because there will be in the order where also we need to allocate the payment, and also directly in our payment method where we're gonna allocate the payment. And after that, we also make that we need to get the router, which we're gonna passing that use router from expo router. Now after that, what we need to do, first of all, we need to initialize the sheet, and then we're gonna go with that. So I'm gonna go and by the way, as you can see here, this sort of things, it will not be there. You see that div which we are handling on that, this is not, we are not gonna do. But what we're gonna pass, that you're gonna see, we're gonna just go one by one. First of all, after that, we need to initialize our, let's say it should be initialize the payment sheet. So that's what we're gonna do. So you're gonna make a function const initialize payment sheet, and that would be a asynchronous function. And on that method, we need to go and pass some variables. So the payment, let's say it can be make that payment intent a client. So that's already, I think, payment intent, not like that. I need to go on that. So that should be something like this one. Okay. Okay, that's my bad. I was not storing in that way. So I need to pass that error first. So the error gonna passing that is equal to gonna come that from await, and that gonna be init payment sheet. So that's where we're gonna grab that, and then we're gonna pass all the object within the variable. So the payment init client secret gonna be passing that our payment intent. So that's the method which we're gonna call. And the customer ID, the ID going to be replaced on the customer, whatever the customer we are passing, and that a customer ephemeral key secret, which gonna be passing that the ephemeral key which we are passing, and that a merchant display name. You can now pass any name you want. So I can just pass our store name, which is, let's say, shop cart store. Okay, like that. So you can use your own store name. Now after having there, so we can also pass that if there is error, binding error here. So what is actually we're receiving in the object, we can throw an error. So that should be throw new, and their error gonna be, we're gonna just simply passing the error within that concat method, init payment sheet failed. And over here we can simply roll back that our message should be error.message. We can just simply pass that. Now after that, as we launch the payment, if we successfully done that, const updated, let's say updated payment status, which going to be update according to directly using that asynchronous method, and we're gonna update within the Supabase, right? So we need to make it as success. So we're gonna pass that, let's say error, and we will go with await method, and then we're gonna use our Supabase, and on that Supabase dot we're gonna go find our form, and that form should be our orders. And from orders we're gonna just update, we're gonna update a single field, and then we're gonna pass that, let's say payment underscore, that should be passing that status, and the status going to be, we need to pass the status as success. So that would be done. And of course we need to make equal to, it should be matched with the ID, and ID should be the order ID which we are passing that. So that it need to be concat, and then it can select the ID itself. So that's the update method it gonna be done. And of course if there is an error, and particularly on that updating instances, it gonna also throw an error which gonna be update payment status failed error.message. Now what we're gonna do after passing that certain kind of things, we need to go and calculate our, let's say const handle, let's say okay, I think it should be below on that. So after throw error, yeah, const handle payment. So that payment also need to be an asynchronous function here, and on that particular instances we will use a try catch block. Now in the catch it can be the error, so we can pass any error is coming here. So we're gonna just simply pass that alert dot alert, and we can just simply pass that payment. Let's say we're gonna simply pass that payment failed, and we're gonna log our error in the console. So payment fail error, and we can simply log the error. Now what is gonna happen once the payment is success, how we're gonna contribute that? We're gonna await, and we're gonna initialize payment sheet. So initialize not init payment sheet, should be initialized payment sheet. We're gonna initialize that one, and from there we're gonna grab two certain kind of things, the error, and the error can be our, let's say it can be p present error. Okay, we can simply we can just simply pass that would be there. So the present payment sheet, so you can see that can be grabbed from there. So present payment sheet, I think did we have that? Yeah, you can see at the top, I think I imported that. Okay, that's why I was not finding that one. Okay, so now we can also pass that from there. So what we're gonna do, if we have that present error, then of course we need to throw a new error which gonna pass the message, and it's gonna pass a simple error that it's gonna throw a new error, payment fail, and present error dot message gonna implemented that, and await. After, if the payment is done, if the accessories is working, we want to make that update payment status to run that function. If payment is successfully done, we're gonna pass that function. So after paying the payment, we want to replace the status that it is success. So, and then like after, if everything doing good, we want to pass a message, we want to pass an alert on that. So that should be, let's say alert dot alert, and within the alert method we want to pass that payment successful, and also AWS if successful, and then we want to pass that another message. Let's say oops, I need to be string, thank you for your purchase. Okay, and then we also need to amplify that. The text should be, let's say we're gonna pass a text on a b and okay, and on that okay we will make an on press event. So on press I think okay, that is okay, I need to go and wrap everything within an array because it's a two value returning itself. So after the text okay, we can simply pass an on press event. So the on press value which gonna run on that gonna be simply an arrow function, and which gonna run that on success, and that method, if that method gonna be just coming to a function, and if the function is there, okay, it's gonna go. Otherwise we're gonna just simply paste that router dot push, and that push can be coming from there directly on that tabs orders. Did we have? Yes, we have the orders. So we're gonna just simply go on orders, and after everything is working perfectly, in the return value, as you can see, we are just gonna pass that handle payment. So should be handle okay, that's the function need to be amplified here, should be passing that one like that. Okay, so it's gonna good. I think we are mismanaging the function. You see the initial payment sheet, everything is wrapping within in between, which should not be. So I need to remove all the function from there. So I'm gonna just grab that, and over here it would be. So now it should be inaccessible. So of course one parameter is done, and let's see, it should be toggle through. Okay, that should not be a function because already affecting on that. So this is the thing, if you're having error, then you can simply finalize and grab the things nicely and make it done. So this is the three simple function: initialize payment sheet, update it a payment status, and handle payment. So we're gonna go in our payment, and here we need to make everything in good to go. So should be const, and there I will need to make that stripe should be is equal to stripe payment. As you see, need to be importing from component stripe payment. And over here, as you see in the props, we need to pass variables. Should be that, let's say, get string param. I'm going to use that toggle true of that function to just to make everything in good to go in that function. So as you see, that should be taking that payment intent. So get string param is the payment intent, and the ephemeral key is also passing the ephemeral key, customer ID, order ID, and others. And then you're gonna pass that user email, which is going to be, let's say, user.email. If it's available, okay, otherwise it's gonna pass as empty value here. And after that, on success method we need to pass, it would be a simple and very tiny bit of function which you're gonna pass that, let's say it's gonna just simply handle that router.push, and here it's gonna be rendering by default, which is gonna be passing that as order. So that's what it's gonna do by default. And as you can see, the other thing is good to go. So we need to, as it just happened to be, get a reload. So I'm gonna just go and initialize one payment here which need to be in successful. And what I'm gonna do on that function itself, in the button, we just need to pass that, let's say, stripe dot not that, should be stripe dot handle payment. So that's the function it's gonna run whenever you're gonna handle that. So place order is going on, is 210.22. If we click on that, you can see now okay, payment failed. So we can go, it doesn't have the return URL, so we need to also bypass that, okay, in sheet. So payment method that requires returns will must be shown in your OS sheet. Okay, we need to configure that. And to configure that, we need to enable the linking payment. So as you see in the Stripe payment here, we need to go and do some kind of setup which can be really good to go and implement that. So first of all, we need to first import, and I'm gonna go and make an star mark to input everything as linking, and that could be coming from Expo linking. I think Expo linking. So that's what we're gonna just prefetch from there, and we need to create a route first, so which can be the return URL. So return URL is equal to, should be linking, and need to be from the linking dot create URL, create open URL, or not create a can open URL, should be create URL, and over here should be create URL. And that URL, it's going to be simply the URL which we are going to passing that, which just passing that a value of tabs, and from the tabs it's gonna just pass the orders. And initially over here in the place of return URL, we're gonna just simply pass our return URL. So this can be solve the issue whatever we are facing right now. If we click and confirm payment, okay, what is showing here again? So right now, failed init payment sheet. So payment method, okay, did not provide an API key. You need to provide your API key in the authorization header using barrier. Okay, but we are doing that, right? We should be having that. That can be possibly maybe the reload setup or something, because if you go in the Stripe payment over here, you can see all the transaction is coming here. So we are receiving the transaction, but it's incomplete, means it's not, it's failed method is happening. So that's what is actually getting it to, but we are receiving it. So I'm gonna try one more time just to go and just go to fill it better. Now let's go again and let's try to go back to the cart and place order 772.97. I'm gonna see if we are getting the error again. So it's right there, handle payment, okay, again. So payment failed, it did not provide an API key. You need to provide your API key in the authorization header, but that's supposed to be, we are passing that. It can be possibly my secret is changed maybe. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in my env. So this is the secret which I pasted here, RW. If I go here in my account, okay, so I don't know how I paste that. So this is wrong. Yeah, that's the secret which I paste here is totally wrong. Okay, no, it's right, it's an Expo URL. Okay, I am in right position here. So okay, this should be here in server. This is my env, right? Okay, so this is what we paste. That should work perfectly, right? Anyway, so if it's not working means something is not is, you see, this is actually redirecting, but authorization barrier, your secret key is not there. So this is kind of nuts, and we believe our Stripe payment is actually happen to be perfectly aligned. If we go in our, let's say, checkout, this is okay here for sure. Okay, remember one secret key which we are putting directly, I believe here. Ephemeral key, so we got it. How come? If we doesn't initialize, then it should not be passing those things, right? So if we go in our Stripe docs, let's see what we're passing here. Okay, it's passing that api.stripe, and then okay, if we go in node.js, so this is what we need to pass in a request, but it should not be that. Okay, we'll find a way to solve that one. It's supposedly work, but okay, I will just reload and try. Okay, so I think this method is everything. We just make that. Okay, so we did all the things pretty much in perfect way. Maybe the API key is sometimes it can be happen for the EMB file rendering or something. So we'll try with that payment 212. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it's working. Okay, 4242. If we go back like that, let's see 34 and 123. It's just a bit of annoying. Like sometimes it will be making the procedure down a bit, but it will work definitely. So no worries about that. So it's working. So you just cross check again, so whatever the data flow you're passing is getting accordingly or not. So these are the simple step and procedure by which you can go and make the things done. Again, if you're still having issue, it can be there, but no worries, let me know in the comments if you're still facing that. Maybe we can resolve it together. So if I go in my for the transactions here right now, so over here we can now check if we have any payment or not. So 210.22 is showing here. Yeah, you see it just got succeed. Okay, cool. So now what we can do in the orders page here, because as pretty much we are happen to be grab each and every single scenario here, we can simply go and prefetch and make the method in a very good ratio. And by the way, you maybe view lots of secret here. Please don't try to use those things, you know, use your own secret. And if you're using also, it will may not work, because I'm gonna revert it and I'm gonna use my own secret and by so far. So now what we can do, as you see, we are having in the orders, we need to go and visualize all the orders. So I'll go a little bit in a faster method, because you know, you already know how made the things can be done. So I'm gonna go and make my user store. I'm gonna grab my router and I'm gonna get my user state parameter here. And of course, I will just flexibly put an order data over here, which will be an interface of the name of order. Okay, I forget the I. And this one gonna contain that ID, total price, payment status, credit add, then the item. So with that payment status, we can update payment status in our database. And also, if you just visualize the data share here, as you can see, the last one, there's a lot of things which is success. As you see, there is a lot of pending. We will make all of those success, so no worries, stay with me. We're gonna make that happen to be make each and everything in a success parameter. First of all, we need to go and grab to fetch the orders. So we will make a simple function, fetch orders, and the fetch orders method, it should be an asynchronous function. So we're gonna just simply pass that variable here. And after that, we will make that, let's say, if there is no user, so there is no user, we need to just pass that. We will make the error, and then we're gonna go the same thing. So the error should be please log in to be your orders, and then return. After that, we will go and visualize with the try catch parameter, and in the catch parameter, we're gonna just go and hold on all the catch properties, which gonna pass that okay, should be error, and then should be error. Okay, so that's how the error can be done. And of course, you can initialize, or you can just simply pass any value for the error, and of course it will be work by sure. So now what we can do also, we need to make that final movement here. We want to make that set loading as false, as we're gonna make it true in some point. So first of all, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and make things in a pretty decent way. We're gonna make that set loading, which is gonna be as true by so far, and after that we're gonna just pass that a data variation which need to be coming up from our await, should be Supabase, and over here Supabase dot auth dot get user. So that's the user it gonna get. So and over here for the user basis, so the user gonna be, we can just simply pass that one as a data layer. So in the data layer, so the user gonna be a Supabase. I think we can initially grab the Supabase user by so far, so that it can be passing a very decent and opt manner. So we can just simply pass that the data layer here, which we are passing or encompassing here, we can just simply mean that to be as a Supabase user, so that we should be able to fetch the data in a perfect way. So this is the data, and of course you can just check the email. You can just make that log. In the log you can see where like you can just make that Supabase user. So Supabase user dot, not like that, dot, you can see the email here. So now you can log and you can grab the email, and of course I will log the email right now. So first of all, we're gonna use that use effect parameter here. So in that use effect, it's gonna call always on in over here, whenever the user is changed, I want to make that fetch orders data. So that would be a little bit crucial things. You see admin@gmail.com. So my user is just specifically right here to do the things. So now we have that user, right? So what we can do, we can now get the user. So const, we can just simply pass the data and also the error, and the both should be, let's say, await, and there should be passing that Supabase dot from, and we need to pass the name of our table, should be coming from the orders, and from the orders we need to pass the select method, and over here we will pass some kind of like statement here, and in the statement of the select we're gonna pass accordingly the ID, total price, payment status, created at, items, user email. So these all are the variable we're gonna find from there, and dot eq, and equal to, it should be coming there for that user underscore email. So that would be a match with the user underscore email, and then we're gonna and then we need to pass the email like that. It should be user dot email, so that would be matched with that email. Then we will order, I love to go and I will make that created underscore at, and I'm gonna go with a formula here, which is going to be, let's say I want to make that ascending true, as ascending false. So it's gonna be fetching the previous done. So now this is the method which we can pass there. So what we can do over here, if there is an error, we can simply pass the error, otherwise set orders. If there is data, the order should be there, otherwise it should be an empty variable. Now if we just log about the orders here, so let's say orders, and now you can see all the orders object is right here, which is really working perfectly. So what we need to do, we need to go and configure a lot of things here. First we need to showcase the order data, and then we need to showcase so many other properties, like if we just pass the wrapper, and then we're gonna pass that, let's say we're gonna pass a text here, which gonna be passing that my orders. So as you can see, my orders there. So now we're gonna pass all the orders, and of course we're gonna make a real-time payment implementation by which we can go and capture each and every single details.